Execution time? No, that executions were done by I am Ravenous, but I was Ravenous, right? So executions are a thing of the past.
Ooh.
A base Lycon enjoyer. So let's have a look. You have under 100 batteries. Fantastic. You have 1.3 million Dennies and you are a little bit broke. You are not free to play. You have skipped my girl Bernice. However, you have Lucia, which is good, totally unrelated. You have a Vivi, that is good as well. You have Stylen, so I think Sona is probably better than most people want to give her credit for. Yijuan is also arguably not that great of a skip, however you have Manato and Banyue. What is the ether DPS you're running? I guess you probably just do not care. Seed is okay, Sambi is okay. Outside of Bernice, that is fine. I'm overdoing crit rate on her. Should I get the full 100%? I mean, it's fine. You can do like 95. I think the main problem is if you start having, let's call it, too much crit rate, you have to sacrifice a lot of other substats, right? And that is like basically the only thing that is gonna hit you somewhere. But generally your substats are not extremely good. This is okay. This is good. This is okay. That is very good. That is okay. And that is good, right? So basically these two discs you kind of would like to exchange. And if you can get more crit rate, crit damage or whatever, that's fine. Soldier 11 has a lot of multi-hits. And none of them are necessarily allocated in one big singular hit. So whether it's like 95% or 100% doesn't really matter too much most of the time. If you look right here, right, her basic 5 at the end, if you look at that, most of these hits are all very even. There's like not one big hit. You have like a few hits which are higher than others, but it's not like all of these are 10k and one is 100k. It's like 22k, 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 17k, 17k, 11k, 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 right? The difference here is not as big. So it's not like one big hit at the end. Because the difference between these numbers is not insane, like 10k to 100k. Whether it's like 95% or 100% usually doesn't matter too much. Right? This is like, if you don't crit in one of these, it's like 5,000 damage loss specifically here for this one, right? If you have everything built and fully buffed, it's like more, of course. Like double that at the very minimum, but you get the point, right? If you look at some other characters, some characters have really backloaded hits. So you can see we have a lot of 10k hits here. Sorry, a lot of 100k hits. And then like 136k at the end. It's whatever, right? There's one backloaded hit, doesn't matter too much. And then you have the ultimate here. 32k a few times, and then 200,000 at the very end, plus a lot of other small hits. And then again for 130,000. Right? So the last hit is 3 times as high. You have like 2 big hits at the end and a lot of small hits in between. And like a few middle hits in the beginning. If you miss the crit on like these last 2 hits, the 131k here and the 200k one here, it is much worse than if you don't crit on these. Does that make sense? That is how you have to think about these characters when you build crit rate. You have to check whether or not, like, how are the hits allocated? Are those a lot of small hits, which are all distributed evenly? Or are there a lot of big hits, where if you miss like one big crit here, it's gonna hurt you a lot? Any Mindscapes? Yes, you have M1 Zhao, M1 Banyue, M1 Dylan, M1 Lucia, M2 Yuzua. Overall, pretty good choice. M2 Hugo is also a great choice, at least in terms of value. You basically have M1 on most characters that you actively play, I suppose. M2 Lighter, okay. Respectable. And you have everything built up until Billy. Alright, let's have a look. You have... Oh, yeah, also your skill levels. Let's check that quickly first. You do have the resources. You assist to 11 and ult to 12 and also EX to 12. But that looks like you would have done that anyway. Going by this, Oh, your Fufu is missing one. Your Tiger is sad. Assist to 11. Arguably, I think assist on Fufu is much more important than on Nanggong Yu. Qingye as well. Assist dodge to 11. Unfortunately, not a very cheap unit to build. You probably want to get your Orphean ultimate level. Arguably, even her assist makes probably sense. Yeah, let's get her assist to 10 plus as well. Just so that it's, you know, not at 5. 5 might be a little bit low. For trigger, you could also consider getting up basic attack, chain, or EX. Honestly, basics to 12 is probably a good idea. You have 7. Okay, never mind. You have 7. In that case, suppose better to save a bit. Good, but we have all the skill levels, so let's have a look. You are running Protopunk. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't want to run Protopunk for Lycon. Even then, you don't want Protopunk, even if he's in a Hugo team. Estful Voice. You could use Estful Voice. You have Lycon Quick Assist. You have Lighter Quick Assist. The problem is Lycon goes... I mean, Lycon will transfer the stacks to your main carry. So you can do that. I would just run 4-piece Estful Voice, honestly. Do you play with Dialin? You're running Hormone. Okay, those discs are pretty good, specifically those. Yeah, in that case, Estful Voice would be a bit difficult. I suppose what you could do is... if you were to play with Dialin, I think it would be better. Because in that case, you can actually just do the Lycon Quick Assist right before the stun window to get the puffer on Hugo. I mean, you can do that with lighter Lycon as well, but it's a little bit more ugly. I think I personally would probably still prefer Estful Voice and try to max the buff before, but to be fair, Protopunk is fine. You run Hormone and with lighter. What do you run on your lighter? Jade Pot. That looks fine, honestly. You're running Impact, lots of crit rate. Hugo, you are at 100%, well, 99% crit rate. 3670, that looks very good. Yeah, not much to say. That is a very good Hugo. To be fair, given you play Hormone Punk, yeah, you're right, it's 101%. I always forget, I always thought this is 10% crit rate, 25 crit damage, but it's 12. I only remember that the M2 was 12%. M2? M1? M1. Yeah, it's good. I mean, to be fair, you wasted, I guess, a little bit of stuff here, especially dodge. You're never gonna use it unless you on-field him, but it's good. Very good Hugo. Good attack, good crit damage, good crit rate. Those are some huge totalizers. M2 is also really good here. Yeah, no, it's fine. 211, 314. Scooter Luna would probably tell me that everything is way too low. That everything is fine. And I would say everything is way too low. But it's fine. Do we have a good attack piece? I mean, get better substats, right? There's really... we already wrote that down. So for the skill levels, you're still building here. You're going with Freedom Blue, so you're playing with me Boo Boo. Your Zhao, you're just going for the ER, that is good as well, right? Good amount of HP subs, you have this, that's fine. Nothing to say, you also have M1, so 15% Red Shred, Banyue. I have to reread his M1, I forgot what it does. Fire Rest 10%, and current stun extension 2 seconds. You are R1, so 30. You are a bit low on crit rate. You would want 67, 68%. I suppose it really boils. Do you have other crit rate ones here you could use? You could probably try to roll for more crit rate, while I think you can give up some HP. That is fine, you don't need that much HP, especially if you have Lucia, and especially with a signature, right? You should be better off if you lower your HP a bit and trade it for crit rate rolls. The question is whether or not you can do that nicely, but that is a different question in that regard, so... You have quite a lot of things you could roll on here. Close. I wonder if it's actually better simply because the crit damage is gonna be worth more. If you trade your HP rolls here for crit damage, you lose 1 crit rate roll and you could reinvest that crit rate roll into another disc. Yeah, roll more crit rate. You can give up a little bit of HP, that is okay. It's much more important that you crit a bit more often. Like, you're missing 13% crit rate, which is quite a bit, honestly. And your HP is gonna be saturated. I know that it's, you know, you get like combat HP and stuff here, but it really... You are still, even if you multiply this, right, you get more sheer force, but missing... Keep in mind that 13% means that from 13 hits out of 100, all of this is 0, right? You are losing 100% of your crit damage if you don't crit. That is just how crit works. So for 13 times out of 100 hits, you lose all of your crit damage substats and your slot 4 main stat as well. I think if it would be like 62 to 65%, this wouldn't be that big. Because at that point, you would need to roll, unfortunately. But 13% is somewhat on the higher side, I think. Otherwise, it's a good Banyue, for sure. Dialin. ER, pen ratio, crit attack, 2-piece ER as well. You're running HFG, that is fine, not much to say. If you want to, you can get this up, right? But whatever. Not all too important. You have the M1. This is at 2.4k, that is fine as well. What you could look for, just, you know, for like minimum optimization, since you found this anyway, you have an HP substat here, as well as crit damage. So arguably, whether or not that is worth your resources is up to you, right? But keep in mind that 70% of her HP is converted into MV, effectively. It's like your attack MV plus 70% of your HP. So the more HP you have, the more damage Lucia is also gonna deal. Means if you have more HP, that is not a worse thing. It's not a bad thing. You can have more HP and it's gonna be fine. Because of that, going like for a flat HP substat here can be good, especially if you spread it out, as it would allow you to get like crit rate or crit damage substat somewhere else instead, right? You could also even run like ER, for example, would also work. But to be fair, right, as much as I love RivynElowen, her damage contribution is not the greatest. So this is such a minimal optimization where you will deal like maybe, I don't know, 500,000 more damage. How much does that matter when the bosses have like 200 million HP nowadays? Well, arguably not that much, but you know. But yeah, that is basically all about it, right? More HP would also allow you to run a different 2-piece, for example, right? If you have like 4 HP percent substat rolls somewhere more, you could run like 2-piece swing jazz, or you could run ER in slot 6. There are quite a few options of what you could do. But aside from that, I mean, all of the basic requirements are fulfilled. That is a great choice for my girl Yuzua. You are running AM attack AP main stat. That is great. You have the signature at R1. This is all looking good as well. 253k, good enough. Your Manato is short on crit rate, I think, again. 24 plus 12 or 36 or 46, you want 54. Yeah, you're short by 5%. And aside from that, you know, roll better substats. That looks like a good Shungus. That looks good. Crit damage, attack, roll better substats. And they are already honestly pretty good, so it doesn't really matter much. Good as well. Fufu 5032, M032. You're running impact. You already are on 2-piece Astral Voice. How does it look if you're on To be fair, Hellfire Gears is a little bit shitty on her because she's so often on field rather than off field. So the ER doesn't really do much, but the increased base attack can help. I mean, I guess you can, if you were to play Jufufu, you could just give her Blazing Laurel. Honestly, I would probably just give her Blazing Laurel instead, because the ER she gains here is just not really that worth it. Vivi, 4-2, you do our 400 AP with Weeping. +3, +3, +3, +3, +1. Would be funny if you would have 1+3 here as well. It's very good, yes. He wants AP over attack, yes. It's just because Weeping Gemini also gives attack percent main stat, right? So having 4-2 with an attack percent main stat is really low. Most Vivians who run Weeping Gemini are at like 2,700, 2,600, 2,700. But it's a really good amount of AP, especially for Weeping. Ether slot 5, yeah, it's fine. Arguably you could try running attack percent and see if it performs better for you, but I mean you would want at least +2 AP here, right? I don't think this matters too much. It depends much more on the investment of your other unit. You can build Vivian with a more balanced stat distribution. That is okay. It really just depends on how and where you want to allocate your damage. Because effectively, Vivian double dips on her AP, whereas, you know, most agents don't double dip on their AP. But it's like, whatever. Poor Neko. Neglected here at level 50. How do your ADA scores look like? Actually, can M2 Hugo not kill this anymore? God damn it, Mario HP inflation. I don't really have much to say. Your Yu is... Sorry, it's not you, it's Yu. Nanggong Yu. Anyway, your Yu is, well, work in progress. Your Fufu is missing like 1 assist level. Your Jingyi is missing a few dodge and assist levels. And your Orphe is missing a little bit of skills in ult and assist. Yeah, your Orphe is a little bit dead. And anything else is really just roll better substats. Jungkook's Pen 5 is how much better? Well, given that all of the recent bosses have half defense, if you play versus any of the new bosses, it's always gonna be worse. And if you are playing versus full defense bosses, it is usually 1 to 2 substats. It's basically for every unit, basically always 1 to 2 substats. It's very rare that it is outside of that range. Sometimes it's even less than that. The thing with Shungus is anyway that, you know, she's just so strong that it doesn't really matter. I personally think this is good. If you want to, you can get more attack generally, right? You have like... It's just fine. Like, you could get more substats if you want on her. Is that worth it for you? Do you struggle clearing with your Shungus? Resource management. As disc rolls, honestly, were fine. A+. Builds were also, for what you have had, were very good actually. You skipped units. F-, Bernice were. Your DA scores were also just very fine. And your overworld agent choice is... Nah, we should give you an S- actually. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you for submitting your account.